Hey, Maria back with another video. It's Sunday. It's June 16th. I am out here on Sunday. I just decided to go for a walk, and I was needed some time to think. I wanted to go out and hopefully hear the church bells, which I got to. There's a church way over there. I just kind of walked around in circles. And as I was walking, one of the things that intrigues me a lot is some of these old buildings. Now, maybe these people did it intentionally, and maybe they didn't, okay? But a lot of architecture originally was designed for like protective symbols. So this one kind of caught my attention. This is like the border. There's one on each side of the entryway. Okay, so I have this. See, it looks like we have like an 8-pointed flower, right? And then we also have an 8-pointed star, right? Then I'm looking at this 4-petal flower, and then they have a triskel, right? And it actually looks like it has the intricate knotwork of some of those old Celtic designs. And then there's the one that's pointing upward, and there's one that's pointing downward. Now, the thing about architecture is that sometimes I'm gonna just go ahead and keep walking. I wish I had one of those little things where I can have you see me while I'm walking, but I can't. I don't have one of those. But the thing about architecture is that originally it was tied into magic, and there's a lot of buildings here in Bakersfield, especially when you go downtown. Now, like right now, I'm on the corner of Niles and where am I? I'm on Niles and Baker, I believe. Yeah, I think I'm on Baker Street. Anyway, so I'm just kind of like walking down. By the way, that particular building was an extension of like the Bakersfield District building, but I'm basically showing you and talking about some of the things like I like to get out of the house and look at, and I think architecture has always kind of fascinated me. I remember when I was looking for work, I kept thinking, okay, I'm thinking about places of interest. What interests me? And I think I wouldn't mind working for like an architectural company or something, but I don't work the 9 to 5 anymore. But this is one of the reasons why, because I find that stuff fascinating. Now, mind you, people create buildings and stuff like that nowadays, but they don't really think about like the history and each little stone and and things that the directional points of things, whereas they used to, a lot of churches used to have their entryways in the east, and that was just the way it was. So I'm looking at some of these old churches, a lot of churches that are clustered in this building, this area over here, and I'm looking at like this one, and this must be an old church. It's got the stained glass windows. Now, I've always wanted stained glass windows for my house because I love the way the sun comes in and beams the color on the floor, and it breaks up a lot of the negative patterns, on a metaphysical level, So, like, I'm looking at this old public library too, right? And I'm looking at some of the columns. I can't really see or make out what's on those tops of those columns, right? But sometimes you'll see things like angel faces. You'll see things like angel faces. Sometimes you'll see things like gargoyles on buildings. Now, gargoyles were actually created as a way of keeping evil away from things. Okay, so you'll see them a lot of times, like in old churches. And by the way, a lot of old churches were built on pagan sites. That's one of the reasons why you'll see things like that, but it became a part of, regular architecture. So you'll see things like people building or adding things like, you'll see gargoyles in churches. You'll see angelic faces and statues and stuff like that. And then, of course, some of those things can also be enchanted. You know what I mean? I was lucky enough this morning. I left out at like 6:30 this morning. I had to get out of the house. I woke up early. I was like, I'm agitated. It's pretty early right now. I'm in front of the Catholic Church at the moment, and there's a lot of people that are getting ready to head into the church. Looks like they're wearing their Sunday best, hanging out. And by the way, I wanted to talk to you about Sunday best because I see a lot of people, they're dressed up, and that's how I remember going to church uh, when I used to go to a Baptist church when I was younger. The Sunday best was what people wore because their best outfit, basically, because they thought it was a respectful thing to show up that way. So there's the church. The church bell, okay? And I'm also been very fascinated by religious statues for a very long time. Sometimes miracles occur around them. I've heard people saying, not that particular church, but there's been churches where or statues that actually might have cried or done these weird, strange, miraculous type things. So anyway, I may not be Catholic, but I've always liked the energy of the Catholic Church. Why? Because I think a lot of people go there with their sincere prayers, and it does have a positive vibration. So sometimes I just like to walk by and hear the church bell. And this morning I did like a little walking meditation, and I heard the church bell, and it just kind of made things a little bit easier for me. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video. I'm headed back home. I just wanted to get out of the house this morning. It's getting too hot to get out in the afternoon, and I really needed to think some things through. There was a lot of things that were kind of like tugging at my conscience, my heartstrings, I should say, when it comes to me moving forward and feeling like I'm just tired of dealing with feeling negative all the time. I'm tired of dealing with um, the aftermath of everything. And I was just sitting in my house and I'm like, okay, well, guys, it's going to be a long morning because it's going to be a long morning because it was before 6:30 a.m. that I left the house, right? So I'm like, okay, I still got to deal with the afternoon, mid part of the day. It's not much for me to do except, of course, work on content. And while I'm going to be sitting in my room, I know a lot of dark thoughts are going to be entering my mind. So I'm like, okay, you know what? I need to get some sunlight. So went outside, got plenty of sunlight just before, because it's going to get hot. Okay, it's not even officially summer and it's already starting to get blazing hot outside. So I just figure, okay, I'm going to get some sunlight, revitalize my skin cells, maybe look into the sun a little bit. It was great to hear the church bells this morning. Now I'm going to head back, get some coffee. Maybe later on this evening I might peek my head out before the sun goes down, do a little bit of sun gazing to try to revitalize my soul and my mind that's been going through a lot of thoughts. The sun really is our greatest source, our best source of energy. And there it is right there. Ooh, gorgeous, isn't it? There we are. Love that sunlight. And it's a beautiful day. It's Sunday, so I hope you guys enjoy your Sunday. Maybe you guys can take some time out for yourself and take a look at some of the old buildings that you have. There might be some old churches or some old you can see a lot of interesting architecture in some of the older neighborhoods that you might have in your hometown. You might look at some of the old churches. Sometimes going to cemeteries is kind of fun because you'll notice like some of the older tombstones, I would say from like 100 years and before that, if they have a lot of the older tombs or cemetery plots or whatever from that time, and the tombstone has not been replaced, some of the older tombstones have a lot of symbolic uh, uh, images on them, and they're beautiful to enjoy. So, I don't know how you're going to choose your Sunday. Maybe you might want to try this little thing. Go out and take a look, do some sightseeing for some magical items. You might check them out on some old houses or something. That'd be kind of cool. See what you can see what you can find. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this video. You guys have a great Sunday. Take care. Bye-bye. Aha. The 7 o'clock bell. Church bell. It's lovely. Happy Sunday.